some of the rules, like we always do. We're going to talk about, like, we're going to make sure we raise our hands when we have questions. We're going to always don't talk when I'm talking or when someone else is talking, so we know what's going on, so we understand the lesson. And we want to make sure that we're focused and paying attention to what we're doing so we know all the right material. So we just watched the video about force and motion. We're going to learn more about force and motion. So can anybody tell me what gravity is?
Gravity is something that pulls things back on the ground that helps us stay on the ground.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It helps us stay on the ground. Like, there's no gravity in space, so that's why astronauts float and why everything's floating. Yeah. Okay. So the gravity is what keeps us and our tables and everything we do to the ground. And what is a pull?
Pull is something like when you're dragging it.
Yeah, you can pull it. Like, do you know something you pull? What?
A chair.
Yeah, you can pull a chair. What else?
Pull is like something that you take and then move it towards you.
Yeah, you could pull it. Like, you could pull a wagon. Like when you're some of you might still do it, or you can do when you're little, you could pull a wagon, or you could pull anything really. And what is a push?
A push is when you push something. Instead of pointing it when you're like in front of it, a push you're behind it.
Yeah.
Like a push is when you're hitting something away from you, like putting force on it and putting it away from you.
Yeah.
Like in the video, how they like what Aiden just said, like when they pull it in the video, they like pushing the soccer ball with a friction on the floor.
Yeah, that's good. And the one thing we do every day, like you guys do every day and I do every day, is we push our chairs in when we're at school. So every day when you leave your desk, you always push your chairs. So you're doing some type of force and motion all the time. And you really didn't even know.
Push is like something with your object that you're moving.
Yeah, you're making it move. What is force?
Force is when you're giving energy, like when you're putting energy into what you're doing it, so you're like giving it a push or a pull, causing it to move in motion.
Yeah, like the video in the force they were doing the soccer ball. Yeah.
Force is like something to make an object move.
Yeah, exactly. Were you gonna say something? Were you gonna say anything? And what about inertia?
Inertia is to make the ball stop and stay where it is. Inertia is the thing that makes things move or stay where they are. So like a lot of objects are in inertia, like a hand sanitizer bottle may be in inertia, which is like what's keeping it there. And if I put something in movement, inertia will keep it in movement until it is stopped by another object.
Exactly. What's a balance? Yeah, exactly. Like, you know the scales you use in science, and you could probably use it, you could use it in math too. And the scales, you have to make sure both weights are equal, or both whatever objects you have in there are the same exact weight. Because you want anything that's balanced, you always want it to be the same. Like, you balance on your foot sometimes, and you're making sure your body is still, and all your weight is keeping it straight up, because you don't want to tip over or anything like that. And what is Newton? You could tell me.
Newton is a unit of like, it's a unit when you use for force and for force. So like if someone gave like 10 newtons in force, it would be like a push or a pull for it. So it's like a unit.
Yeah.
Force.
Like we just saw earlier, Newton is a person. So Newton has laws of motion. So he has 3 types of laws. Does anybody know? I think you guys learned about it in your science fine arts class also. Does anybody know the three of them? Do you know any of at least one? There's forces involved with it.
Like I know, I have heard all three, but I only know one. And like one of them is that something in motion will stay in motion until another object stops it.
Yeah, exactly. That's Newton's first law, which means that in the video we used Newton's law. Like they were kicking the ball, an object was at rest, and like the ball was at rest, and once the girl or the boy kicked the ball, the object was in motion. So, and then all of a sudden the grass would slow it down because, as we talked about, the friction of the grass is what slows it down until there's no more left, and that's what slows it down. Which that's what Isaac Newton's first law is an object in motion stays in motion until acted upon. Like if I threw a ball at the wall, what's going to happen? It's going to stop because the wall. So the wall is going to stop it. So that's the first one. Does anybody know the second one? No. The second one is about it says that the greater mass of an object being accelerated is the greater mass of force needed to accelerate it. So, which that means is, in the video, a heavier mass was the bowling ball, right? Because what's heavier, a soccer ball or a bowling ball? Exactly. So, am I going to need more or less force to throw or kick that bowling ball? More force, and that's what the Isaac's second law, motion law is that you have to make sure that when you have a heavier object, you're going to throw it or kick it with everything you have, all your force in your body. Like when you, let's say, throw a piece of paper, that's going to be not a lot of force because it's so light and its mass is not as great as a bowling ball, or like if you were to throw a piece of paper in a basketball, which one's more? Exactly. So you're going to want to make sure that you have the more force, like when you kick something, yeah, the heavier object, you're not, like, if you've ever thrown a really heavy ball or you kick something really heavy, then you have to make sure that you add more force. If you just tap it, it's not going to go anywhere. So if you tap the bowling ball or throw a bowling ball or even a heavier type of ball, it's not going to go anywhere. And Newton's third law, it says here that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So I think you guys... Oh, exactly. So we threw the ball, and what stopped it?
The wall.
The wall. Why the wall stopped it?
There's something blocking it.
Okay, but what else? Did the ball just stop and stay at the wall?
No, the wall makes
What
friction
happened?
against it.
So, what was it?
Gravity pulled it down.
Exactly. Gravity is not just making the ball stick to it. It's not a sticky ball, so it's not going to stay there. So when you throw something, it's going to come down because gravity. And another thing I think you guys learned in your science one is leaning against the wall. If I push against this wall, what's going to happen? Like if I push with all my might, am I going to go anywhere?
No.
Is the wall going to go anywhere?
No.
But what's going to happen to me if I really, really push?
You're gonna bounce off.
It, just like the ball. So the gravity is doing what? Is it keeping me against the wall?
No.
So which has more? Exactly, it's pulling me back because the wall has more mass than me, right? So which means I can't move that wall. If we all try, we all can't move that wall because there's so much more mass in that wall, and gravity is going to instantly pull us back, right? Exactly. And let's see, what's a machine? Does anybody know what?
A machine is kind of something you can invent.
Yeah, you can invent a machine.